Caveat emptor, buyer beware. That's how I'd say it if I was speaking Latin. It's a direct translation. It means purchase at your own risk. So this Latin phrase dictates the legal principle for buying a property in Queensland. Well, guess what, guys? Times are changing. Updates to the disclosure requirements for land sales in Queensland suggest the departure of the buyer beware principle. In Queensland, the onus has traditionally rested on buyers to conduct thorough due diligence investigations before finalising a property purchase, with sellers having relatively limited responsibilities in terms of disclosure. Property law, seller's disclosure. Last month, on the 25th of October 2023, the Queensland Government passed the Property Law Bill of 2023, replacing the Property Law Act of 1974. The bill introduces a stack of changes to property law that will impact property sales and leasing in Queensland. The bill will commence on a date fixed by proclamation. This means a date set up by Parliament in the future. The REIQ will keep members up to date in relation to the commencement of this bill. Special shout out to the REIQ for producing great content surrounding this topic. This new legislation will affect all real estate agents and property lawyers, conveyancers, as well as bankers and brokers and anyone in Queensland property. The Seller's Disclosure Regime. A new mandatory Seller's Disclosure Regime has been introduced in Queensland. This regime applies to the sale of both residential and commercial properties in Queensland. Once the regime commences, a seller will be required to provide a disclosure statement and prescribed certificates in relation to the property they are selling to prospective buyers before a contract of sale is signed by the prospective buyer. There are specific requirements on how the disclosure documents must be prepared, what must be included, and how it must be given to the buyer. In Queensland, real estate professionals are permitted to prepare and exchange the disclosure documents on behalf of their client, the vendor. The buyer may be entitled to terminate a contract for sale any time before settlement if the disclosure documents are not provided correctly or there is a mistake or omission that relates to a material matter, which the buyer was not aware of, and had they been made aware, they would have never entered into the contract. That said, at present, Queensland has no formal seller's disclosure, and sellers are not required to disclose all information to prospective buyers, except that required under common law or contract. The seller will need to provide buyers with a signed seller disclosure statement. The disclosure statement will need to include information like a title search, a registered survey plan, any adjudicator's orders, for example, QCAT for tree and fence. If it's in a community title scheme, body corporate information certificate, community management statement, and bylaws not included in the CMS. Pool safety compliance, QBCC notices, environmental protection notices, and current rates and water. A piece of information that will not currently be included in the disclosure statement is flooding history and flooding maps. This area is in debate, especially given everything that's happened in southeast Queensland over the last few years with flooding. So there is still discussions between the government for this to be included in the disclosure pack. This lawyer believes that the new laws will allow greater transparency for buyers, allowing Queensland property sales to not have turbulence or speed bumps once they are signed. This will allow a higher strike rate of deals going all the way through to completion once they're actually signed and on foot. Because as it stands right now, the current model, searches may uncover issues with the property that could allow the deal to fall over. Well guys, there's obviously a lot more to come with this. The bill is still awaiting a date. We don't know when that will happen. We're thinking at least late next year. It is exciting times. You can Google it and find out more information. Again, if you have any questions, you can email me, george@empirelegal.com.au. Keep in mind that there is more information that will be unpacked here. We're just going to have to wait, but as we uncover more, we will share it with you. If this has added value, please share it with a friend, subscribe to our YouTube, like our Instagram, @EmpireLegal on Instagram. Thanks for listening, everybody. See you on the next one. And if you're wondering, yes, this is shot at the Spit at Main Beach. Chat soon. Ladies and gentlemen, please keep in mind that all advice is general in nature and does not constitute legal advice. This is authorised by George Souris, Empire Legal, Gold Coast, Queensland, Australia.